Today I'm going to do an activity on bank reconciliation. Right, if you look at what's required here, we're required to calculate the correct totals in the cash journals, the correct ledger account balance for your bank, and then to do bank reconciliation statement. I'm going to do these three things simultaneously rather than separately. I do that so that I can read through information once only, and in that way I save time. Right, let's look at the information. The first thing that they give you is last month's bank reconciliation statement. This is very useful because all the differences from previous months are in one place. So you're not going to need to go back and recompare your bank statement and your journals. You can just work with the current month's bank statement and journals. So you don't need to look back and see what the differences were for previous months because they're summarized here. The other thing that you take from here is your ledger account balance. Your bank account balance from the ledger, that was at the end of April. So at the end of April, you have a negative balance of 34,274. So you're going to start off with your calculation over here with a negative. The next thing they gave you were your journal totals, which you will record under the relevant headings. Right, moving on to the differences now. The first thing that they give you is entries in the cash journals that don't agree with the bank statement. So these are things that we have recorded in our CRJ that the bank hasn't. Those are both deposits here. The bank hasn't made the entry, so you're going to record them in your bank reconciliation statement. The bank owes you that money because you're depositing, so therefore in your bank reconciliation statement you're going to record those two deposits. If you want to, you can put that and that one in brackets next to outstanding deposit, but you must show your calculation. Right, then they give us two EFTs here. If you look underneath here, it says EFT 21 was received from Ivory Limited and re-recorded in the CPJ in error. So in this case, the business made the error. They recorded an actual receipt of money as a payment. So to fix that, you're going to need to double the amount in your CRJ. One to cancel the CPJ entry and the other one to add into your CRJ, which is where it was supposed to be in the first place. This other EFT hasn't been recorded by the bank yet, so that will be an outstanding EFT. When you make an EFT payment, the bank owes you less money, so EFT payments that are outstanding appear on the debit side. This side is what the bank owes you. If you make a payment, you record on the debit side because the bank owes you less money here. Okay, then they give you items in the bank statement that don't agree with the May cash journals. And the first thing here, there's a deposit of 21640. You will need to check back and see whether that deposit was outstanding, and if you have a look here, it was. You had that outstanding deposit. So all that's happened now is the bank has fixed up their books, so that deposit is no longer outstanding. Then we have an EFT for 13,800. Check back to see whether or not it was outstanding. It was, so the bank has now recorded it, so we're going to leave that one out. And then the next EFT, they tell you that the EFT was 19,700 and the bank statement is correct. So that is the correct amount, the 19,700. If you look back up here, we recorded it, that same EFT, as 17,900. In other words, we did not record enough in our CPJ. So into your CPJ, to correct the error, you're going to record the difference between those two amounts, 1,800. Okay, moving on now to a debit order here. You will notice that the bank has duplicated that debit order. It's appeared twice in your bank statement. Okay, they should have only recorded once, and they say that they will correct this in June. So the first thing we need to do is we need to record it once. because we're paying money. The second thing you need to do is the bank took money from you twice, and they should have only taken it once, so they owe you that extra amount that they took. Okay, then we have a deposit on the 15th of April, 10,080. If you look back up the top here, the deposit was actually supposed to be for 12,080. And they tell you underneath here that they can't account for the difference and that you're going to write off the amount and then investigate further. So we actually recorded a deposit as 12,080, but when the money got to the bank, it was only 10,080. So we have lost 2,000 Rand. So that is going to get recorded under your CPJ. Okay, you're probably going to get asked some sort of theory question about control of cash here. Alright, then the last three here, your internet banking fee and your service fees are both bank charges. The interest is on the credit side. If it's on the credit side, the bank is telling you they owe you that money. So the interest will get recorded in the CRJ and the two bank charges will get recorded in your cash payments journal. You are paying money for bank charges. Okay, that's the end of the information here now. So now we just need to finish off. So we're going to add up our CRJ, add up our CPJ. The CRJ is going to reduce your overdraft. So your overdraft was negative. So you're going to add the 64,209. And then the CPJ will make that overdraft bigger. So you're going to minus that. If you do this, you end up with a negative 11,051. And that means that your bank balance is an overdraft. Now they never gave you this bank statement balance over here. So in this case, we're going to have to start at the bottom with the balance that we know is correct. So the balance per bank account was an overdraft, so it was a credit figure. Then to calculate this amount over here, this 89,731, you add up the bigger side, which is this total here. That must be the same over here. And then to get that 89,731, you take this 93,391 and you minus that 3660. So you're actually working from the bottom up backwards to get to that missing figure. Please remember the bank reconciliation statement starts off with the bank statement balance and ends up with your correct bank account balance, and that balance should be the same as what is in your general ledger. Okay, then there's just one more question here. They say to you that Ms. Jane Smith, the finance clerk, we were responsible for all the finance activities. She made several mistakes and the owner has not taken any action. As an internal auditor, you're not happy with this. Explain one problem to confirm your concern, quoting figures, and give advice. Okay, the biggest problem here is this missing deposit here, but also it's taking a long time for money that was received to be deposited. So there are two possible options that you could put here. The first one, there's a shortfall in the cash deposit of 2,000 Rand. 12,080 was received and documented, but only 10,080 was deposited. To fix that up, you could use a security company to collect deposits, or you could have division of duties. Make sure the person receiving the money, recording the money, and depositing the money are separate. The other thing here is there's been a delay in the cash deposit, okay, because money was received on the 15th of April, and if you look at the bank statement, it was only deposited on the 17th of May. That's almost a whole month later. You can't have that because that's poor internal control. So to rectify that situation, you should deposit cash on a daily basis rather. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.